Good evening, everyone. It's Alexian broadcasting live from the Orlando, Florida area, and welcome to GreenSong Changemaker Series Episode 4. It's my pleasure to be your co-host along with grandmother Elspeth, who will be along shortly. I've been saying this every week, and I'm going to continue to say it. Have you shared this yet? Have you subscribed? So first of all, that's our favor. Share this link, the link that's underneath the video. Click it now, share it to your Facebook friends and family, share it to YouTube, share it to Twitter, share it all over the place. And it's happening live now. And those that are watching live, Anita is standing by as always, and we want you to be interactive. We want you to chat with each other. We want you to chat with us. We're watching the comments coming in on YouTube and Facebook. That's the comments right below where you're watching now. If you are watching this live, comment, and one of your comments might be put up right on the screen for everyone to see in this broadcast. Again, like the video if you're on YouTube and subscribe, hitting the red bell, and then the red link, and then ring our bell, which is to receive notifications every time that GreenSong has a new video or one of these live broadcasts. So it reminds you, because life happens, we get busy, and then all of a sudden you'll get a little bing, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I want to watch that tonight. And you'll turn on your phone and watch while you're cooking or whatever. Also, I should say that we are having donations now at greensongfestival.com. I've been told that you can now easily donate right from the website itself. You no longer have to go to a bit.ly address. And there's also the auction with Nybor and Elspeth's artwork being auctioned off there at greensongfestival.com. So definitely check that out. Some wonderful pieces over there, even handmade tarot decks. Really cool stuff. So, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you once again, Grandmother Elspeth.
Hello, everybody. I'm Grandmother Elspeth, back to welcome you to the next week of the Changemaker series brought to you by GreenSong. We are here at the Indy filming this. Well, my part at any rate. And I want to let you know how much it means to those of us that have put this together to have each of you attending, listening, and maybe acting on some of the things that you find. I will mention again the online auction of Nybor's work and mine being held through greensongfestival.com. You can look it up. Today, I bring to you, first of all, a quote from Pete Seeger. I warned you about this. I told you I was going to use a lot of them. Once he said, possibly more than once, if it can't be reduced, reused, repaired, rebuilt, refinished, resold, recycled, or composted, then it should be restricted, redesigned, or removed from production. A short way, perhaps, of saying that is the saying that happened in the 30s. I was born in 1930, and I grew up hearing, use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Have you ever thought about doing without as a possibility? Today, our speaker is Fuz Sanderson, and he's going to talk about a lot of things about endangered species and ecosystem stability. There is so much instability in our world. It's good to know something is. He is the founder and coordinator of the Piedmont Earth Skills Gathering. He's an endangered species biologist, earth skills teacher, musician, and thought-provoking mentor. Currently, he is serving the state of North Carolina in the Biological Services Unit of the Department of Transportation. Fuz has a passion for teaching and for sharing knowledge of the scientific and mythical world. He loves to see the empowerment that learning brings to everybody. We welcome you, Fuz Sanderson.
Greetings, GreenSong Gathering and Changemakers. I'm Fuz Sanderson of Piedmont Earth Skills, and I'm honored to be a part of this and to give my presentation on endangered species and ecosystem stability. My presentation may be a little different than some of the others. I'm pre-recording this and sending it along. I'm sharing with you some information and some experience I have with endangered species in hopes that it gives you the knowledge and inspires you to action. I was at an Earth Skills gathering. You may have heard Snowbear speak of it in his presentation, when I was approached by Joan Candelino to talk about this subject. Now, Joan knows me for many years, and at an Earth Skills gathering, typically I'm teaching something like bamboo craft or didgeridoo making or drumming or fire making or outdoor cooking, any number of the Earth Skills types of things, wood carving, wood splitting. But Joan knows that I've been working with endangered species for years, and she specifically asked me to cover this subject for the gathering. So I hope it's helpful to you, and here we go. Man, I so much wish that we could all be together. I wish I was telling this around a campfire with you directly instead of recording it on a video. This is a little strange doing it this way, but this is the opportunity that we have, so here goes. Just to give you a little bit more background on what brought me to be talking about endangered species and ecosystem stability. I felt it when I was a very young kid. I started to ramble around in the woods just because I was called out there. I used to just go turn over rocks and logs and look for all the critters and just enjoy being in the outdoors so much. It was very calming for a kid like me. And as I grew up, I began to see where some of those natural areas that I used to go exploring with out in the woods were being changed over. Some of them had turned into neighborhoods. Some of them became strip malls. I saw farms and barns being taken down and everything converted into something different. And that kind of hurt to see. I watched the wild places just shrink into areas where we used to just go ramble out in the woods without a care, now being confined to a small park where you've got to stay on the path. And so at a certain point, I decided to go into studying wildlife biology. I went to NCSU, studied fisheries and wildlife science. After finishing my degree at State, it was time to find a job. So as I was walking through the hallways of the university there, this is pre-internet, of course. So to find a job, you look for the postings on the wall. Well, I was walking by looking at the postings, and I saw one looking for research technicians doing bird surveys on a newly established wildlife refuge in the sort of eastern part of North Carolina along the Roanoke River National Wildlife Refuge. And the Roanoke River was newly established, and they were getting some background information. It was a wintertime job, and the job said, must be willing to work long hours, unsupervised, and sometimes harsh field conditions. To me, it sounded just like a great adventure running around in the woods. And it was. So I spent a winter doing that, sometimes breaking ice in the swamps before we could get back and do bird surveys, and then we do a vegetation analysis of the area. Well, that season ended, and then I ended up going to work in the mountains doing something similar. We were studying neotropical migratory birds there and studying their nesting habitat and trying to get a better understanding of what their nesting habitats were. We were focused on mature forests at high elevation, so forests above 4,000 feet that were at least 100 years old or more. Well, that season ended and rolled into another season doing shorebird research on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So this worked for a couple of years like that, and then those projects ended. I went to Puerto Rico to study wading birds for a while, all the time doing this technician work, and then went to study birds down in Florida along the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, and spending more and more time doing that just gave me a better appreciation of the interconnectedness of the natural world. Somewhere along the line, I decided I wanted to do some teaching too. So I got recruited by the Green River Preserve and worked there my first year as a expedition leader. And I spent 10 years there working as an expedition leader and program director for some of their seasonal programs. That may have been some of the best work I ever did in my life. It was very rewarding to see the young people become so fascinated and so inspired by the natural world. That was where it really felt like having a positive impact on young people, especially if you can get them to love the natural world, because that's where real protection comes in. You got to love something. After a while, and I still work at the Green River Preserve. I still teach at I do their staff training, and oftentimes we'll try to find some time during the shoulder seasons to go work on their programs when I'm taking vacation time from my regular job, which is now with the North Carolina Department of Transportation in the Biological Surveys Group and Environmental Policy Groups. Now, a lot of people wonder, what is the North Carolina Department of Transportation doing? What's the endangered species thing about? Anytime we build a road or replace a bridge or a bicycle path or anything like that, especially if there's federal funds involved, we want to make sure that we are protecting the natural environment. It's part of the NCDOT's goal. So they will send out one of these biologists from the Biological Surveys Group to an area to survey for endangered species. If we find the animal or plant, or even if we suspect that it's there, if we strongly suspect that this endangered species may be existing in this area, we will take steps to protect it. We will do everything we can to make sure to avoid any kind of impacts. And even beyond that, we will do what we can to help that species thrive in the future. So some of those conservation efforts include things like improving the habitat in an area, or we might help support research that helps us determine what the range of the species is, or perhaps what is causing the decline of that species. In some cases, we've put funding towards helping the recovery of the species by doing captive breeding. These are just a couple things that DOT does. So I'm glad to be working with them, and we'll go over a couple of the projects that we've worked with a little later on. Now, if you are a part of the GreenSong gathering and you've clicked on this video and you've watched this far, then you're probably very aware of the complex web, beautiful, intricate web of life that exists all around us and of which we are an integral part. This web is interwoven into a complete life support system for all of the biological diversity on this planet. All of the individual strands of that web support the greater whole. Human population, human activities, and behavior have begun to pluck at strands of that web. If we continue pulling those strands, we run the risk of destabilizing the entire thing. You may be familiar with a quote. Some have attributed this quote to Chief Seattle. I have heard there is some controversy as to where it originally came from. And it goes like this. Man, or in this case, let's say humans did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand within it. And whatever we do to the web, we also do to ourselves. Whether he said it or not, it rings true. We are part of this greater intricate web of life. And so also as a part of this GreenSong gathering and Changemaker series, we're recognizing that there is something, that we are facing some challenges right now. Some of us consider that we may be dealing with we're watching a slow motion disaster unfold before our eyes. With the loss of biodiversity and wild places, some ecologists and biologists think that we may be entering a 6th grade extinction. And this is an understanding that there have been 5 great extinctions on the Earth in the past 4 million years. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. So science, geology, and ecology and archaeology lead us to understand that there have been at least 5 major extinctions on the Earth in the past 4-something billion years. Now there is what we call a background rate of extinction, and there's also a background rate of speciation, where new species are evolving to fill a niche for themselves. But in this case, we're looking at time periods where there were a great number of species before this event, and then something happened, some cataclysm of some kind, and after that, there are very, very few species in the fossil record. The most recent of these would be what sometimes is called the KT boundary. About 66 million years ago was when a huge meteor smashed into the Earth and brought the end of the age of dinosaurs. When that occurred, that opened up the possibility for mammals to begin to thrive. So all of those ecological niches that became available after the Earth recovered from that disaster began to get filled. And the Earth's diversity grew and grew and developed into this very, very rich and complex web of life that we now have before us. Now, looking back at this concept of some of the mass extinctions and even the background extinction rate, what we understand based on the level of diversity in the planet now and everything we've seen in the fossil record is that 99% of all species that ever existed have gone extinct. So the incredible, diversity that we have right now is still just 1% of that incredible of that diversity, and it's pretty amazing to consider the resiliency and ability of this planet to rebound from such a cataclysm. Now, the current period that we are in, the latter part of this period since the age of the dinosaurs, is called the Holocene epoch. That's about, we're giving it roughly 11,500 years. This is the period in which humans have really begun to thrive. It's not when we first evolved, but this is the time when we have really, really expanded our populations. This is the time of the advent of agriculture. And during this Holocene epoch, during this past 10,000 years or so, we've had a very, very stable climate. And part of this ability of the climate to remain stable is due to that intricate web of life, the interconnections and interactions of all of the plants, these vast forests across the globe, and the vast oceans and all the diversity of species with the corals and everything, all of it connected. And as humans have thrived, we have really thrived. We began farming. We have had access to tremendous amounts of food. We have eliminated most of the predators that would affect us. And we've also eliminated most diseases. There are some still around, devastating people and populations. But for the most part, we've developed vaccines and been able to live much longer than we had in the past. But of late, it seems that we are living further and further from the natural world. We have given ourselves a bit of separation in terms of comfort and in the ways of our living that have decreased our interconnectedness and decreased our sense of belonging to the natural world. So as we have thrived, we've had some pretty drastic effects on other species. Our population has grown exponentially, and we've begun having a drastic effect on the atmosphere, the surface of the land, the oceans, and other aspects of that vast and intricate web. We've become such a dominant force now that many people would say that we're entering a new epoch, that we are on the verge of leaving the Holocene and entering into what's called the Anthropocene. There are many ideas or concepts of what may have triggered the Anthropocene, what we're calling the Anthropocene, this human-caused era on the Earth. Some may say it began when humans began to use agriculture. Some may say the Industrial Revolution was the big trigger. Others would say when we exploded the first atomic bomb. That would have left a radioactive imprint on the entire surface of the Earth. Whatever the case may be, whenever that certain time period is, there's no question that our activities are beginning to dominate the health of the whole Earth ecosystem. And we understand now that the Earth is a finite system. It became really evident when we saw that first picture of the Earth from the moon, from Apollo 11. And when we look at and understand that this is a finite system, the concept of unlimited growth in a finite system just does not seem logical, does not seem reasonable. But this is how humans have been. It has seemed so limitless for so long for us that it's a hard concept to think about. And it will take a monumental shift in human behavior and human consciousness and human growth. So knowing that can be, beginning to really educate yourself and know enough about what's really going on in front of our eyes can be somewhat daunting. It's a concern. And so I have a quote here I'll share with you from Aldo Leopold. This is from a Sand County Almanac. He says, "One of the penalties of an ecological education is that one lives in a world of wounds. Much of the damage inflicted on the land is quite invisible to most people, to laymen. An ecologist must either harden his shell and make believe that the consequences of science are none of his business, or he must be the doctor who sees the marks of death in a community that believes itself well and does not want to be told otherwise." This is where I see sometimes these concepts of people saying that everything's fine and we should just continue on as normal. I can't get behind that. I think we need some change. Now, before we get too grim here, I believe we still have a chance. So let's take a look at some of the species that I've worked with and some success stories. There are some success stories where animals have rebounded with adequate protection. One of the best examples may be the bald eagle. The bald eagle was once on the brink of extinction due to habitat loss and the use of pesticides like DDT. In 1963, there were less than 500 breeding pairs in the lower 48 states. The bald eagle has recovered following the ban on domestic use of DDT in 1972, and with the passage of the Endangered Species Act in 1973, the eagle was listed as endangered. Since that time, they've recovered so well that they were delisted in 2007. The peregrine falcon, once listed as endangered, the peregrine falcon population has increased in response to reintroduction and habitat protection, as well as the elimination of other threats such as pesticide use. One of the fastest animals on the planet, if not the fastest. Sea turtles are also recovering. They were getting caught in shrimp trawlers and losing nesting habitat. But once they were protected through the Endangered Species Act, all shrimp trawlers were required to use turtle excluder devices. And on the North Carolina Outer Banks and the Cape Hatteras and Cape Lookout National Seashore, they're getting record numbers of them nesting each year. There are multiple examples of species that have recovered from the brink through conservation efforts. Manatees, sea otters, black-footed ferret, and gray wolf. Often the ones that get attention are what we call the charismatic megafauna. They're either cute, or they're majestic, or they're big, or they're something that really captures our attention. What sometimes gets overlooked, though, are some of the less charismatic critters. Mussels, we don't see them very often unless we go looking, and there is not really a mussel watching society like there's bird watching groups. But they are some of the most threatened species on Earth. Why? Because we hammer our rivers. We've treated our rivers like sewers for generations, dumping waste in them. But with the Clean Water Act and other efforts at conservation, many rivers are recovering. We can take a look at one mussel here. the Appalachian elk toe. Now, the elk toe had completely disappeared from the main stem of the French Broad River, and it hadn't been seen in over a century. This was largely due to logging and industrial pollution. But during a survey in 2017, we found one. Much to our surprise, it's now documented, and since that time, it's now been documented in a large stretch of the French Broad River from Rosman all the way into Asheville. That's a big success and shows that the health of the French Broad River is improving. And mussels are a keystone species. They filter water as they feed, thereby continually improving the quality of water. Now, we have worked with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission to captively breed these mussels. This is an example of the what's called the mussel barn in Marion, where we have some Appalachian elk toe and tar spiny and dwarf wedge mussels, all of them in a captive breeding effort. The hope is that we can introduce them into their historic habitats as the water quality in those rivers improves. The red cockaded woodpecker is a bird that requires mature pines, often 80 years to 100 years or more. Primarily, they like longleaf pines, which was one of the dominant plants in a significant portion of North Carolina, but that had been decimated through the use of through logging and through naval storage. A population of red cockaded woodpeckers was found in an unlikely place in the eastern part of North Carolina, and the DOT decided to purchase this as a conservation site for a project we had down there, US 64. The site was called the Palmetto Prairie Tree Preserve, and over the course of time, we have done monitoring and management of the site to the point where we've increased the nesting population by 11 pairs and continued to make site improvements out there. This is one way to see inside the nest, is with this little camera on a pole that you can take it all the way up to the top there and take a peep inside that nest, and you can see here that I can count the number of eggs in the nest with that little camera on a pole. If there's going to be banding of the birds, in order to monitor them, they have to be banded. So it would be required to climb up the tree actually and capture the birds and put a band on their leg. If it's a color-coded band, then you can tell which bird it is and follow it throughout the nesting season and for years to come to monitor and monitor its population. Another species that's doing well through conservation efforts is the bog turtle, the southern bog turtle. And here's a team of people getting ready to go out and survey for them. It's a unique surveying experience. If we are lucky enough to find a turtle, then we'll measure it, mark it, weigh it, and get all the details on it before it's re-released into the wild, so that we can also monitor the health and robustness of that population. Sometimes they're described as mole turtles because of their habit of spending so much time underground. There are multiple species that are under protection, and if we can get to the point where we are putting our efforts at protecting those species, getting a better understanding of their populations and their habitat needs, and preventing the destruction of habitat, preventing invasive species, preventing the drainage of wetlands and allowing fire back into the landscape in places where it was known to be, we can take big strides towards protecting those species. In my state, North Carolina, there are currently 61 federally threatened and endangered species known to occur. Some of their populations are improving, some of them are still challenged, and we hope to do what we can to help them improve. The point here is, it can be done. Once we know about a species imperilment, if we have the will and the means to protect it, then we can watch their populations improve. So I've committed my life towards doing this kind of work, and I think it's really important. It's important to remember that the Earth is an incredibly resilient planet, and the web is still intact, and we have an opportunity to continue to try with the intelligence and the powers that we have to enhance that web and to really do what we can to protect what's left. One of the more controversial subjects that will come up is what to do about human population growth. It is unquestionable in my mind that this is one of the most important points to make. We need to stabilize human population growth and perhaps even bring our human footprint down. That may go against many people's beliefs. This is why I say it's controversial. It may go against their beliefs that we need to go forth and multiply and dominate the earth. We know that there are times in the past when humans have hunted an animal to complete extinction. There are other behavioral aspects of humans where we may not have just known enough about that species' habitat needs, or we inadvertently destroyed it just through our complete ignorance. What is clear, though, is that the human quality of life depends on a healthy, functioning ecosystem around us. And being a part of that web, we know that we must protect it. If the disaster was caused by a volcano or an asteroid, that'd be one thing. But if we can recognize and see that it is human behavior that is driving this new extinction rate, that's another matter entirely. So what must we do? I believe endangered species work is critical. I believe that we must do everything in our powers to protect endangered species and the habitats upon which they depend. That means really protecting what's left of those wild areas, and if we can, rewilding the areas that have been compromised. This is going to allow us to help strengthen the strands of the web that are still in existence. Right at home, making sure that you're planting native species. If you're gardening and growing a significant amount of your own food and not depending on some giant agribusiness farm that's stripping the soil and causing massive problems in other places. And with that in mind, check your diet. Are you eating a more plant-based diet? Are you focused on organics? Do you eat food that's locally sourced? These are just steps that we can take. I also believe that the work that has been done in an effort to bring people to a closer relationship with nature, this rewilding, getting our people back outside, especially when they're young, so that they learn to feel that value, to feel that interconnection with the natural world. Because if you don't appreciate something, if you don't have that sense of interconnection, it's hard to have any value, to want to protect it. So one good opportunity to get out and do some rewilding is at these Earth Skills gatherings. Snow Bear mentioned in his talk the River Canaan Falling Leaves Rendezvous. I also have one called the Piedmont Earth Skills Gathering. We weren't able to host them last year due to the pandemic, but we're hopeful that we will in the future. And these gatherings teach a lot of these, what we call ancestral earth skills. Everything from understanding homesteading skills to how did our ancestors make fire, to living closer to the earth, some wilderness survival, some just real gratitude in learning these skills. And it opens up for me, it's really opened up my perception and my mind. So now when I walk into the woods, when I go into the forest, I see the world in a different way. I feel a deeper sense of appreciation and gratitude. And so I would strongly recommend if you get a chance to do that. Also, what can you do to educate yourself? So many of these solutions are becoming more obvious to us every day. Working to increase access to solar power, geothermal, hydroelectric, wind power, anything we can do to move away from fossil fuels, and anything you can do in your life to try and reduce your consumption of those fossil fuels and consumption in general. I mean, I think sometimes we think consumption of fossil fuels means we're just driving our car. It means a lot more than that. Anything you purchase had some sort of energy that went into it. And so understanding what you're purchasing, what you're spending your money on has an impact as well. And so I still have some hope. I've still seen some improvements in areas where things looked bad in the past and they've really improved greatly. And it gives me a sense of like, yeah, maybe we can, maybe humans have it. Maybe we can make it happen. Maybe we're not completely doomed. And so I will leave you with one final quote. This is from Edward Abbey. One final paragraph of advice. Do not burn yourselves out. Be as I am, a reluctant enthusiast, a part-time crusader, a half-hearted fanatic. Save the other half of yourselves and your lives for pleasure and adventure. It is not enough to just fight for the land. It is just as important to enjoy it while you can, while it's still there. So get out there and hunt and fish and mess around with your friends. Ramble out yonder and explore the forests. Climb the mountains, bag the peaks, run the rivers, breathe deep of that yet sweet and lucid air. Sit quietly for a while and contemplate the precious stillness, the lovely, mysterious, and awesome space. Enjoy yourselves. Keep your brain in your head and your head firmly attached to the body active and alive. At Abby. And so, have hope. Thank you, GreenSong Changemakers, for setting this up and putting it together. And let's all look at what we can do as individuals and as a group to help protect endangered species and ecosystem stability. Be well.
Thank you so much, Fuz. I didn't have any idea it was all that complicated, but simple. Today, I've spoken of the online auction of Nybor's work. There may be some of you out there that have not ever seen his work or don't even know who Nybor is. In 1983, yes, I was at a party at a science fiction convention. And you have to remember that I appreciate men. I appreciate the way they look and sometimes the way they behave. But I looked up, I was sitting on the floor with a drink in my hand and looked up, and through the door came this beautiful, beautiful man. And as they say, the rest is history, but I might tell you about him. James Odbert is his name. He sold his first picture when he was 6 years old. At 85, he has made his living as an artist all his life. He grew up, went to the college at the Minneapolis School of Art and Design, joined the Navy. They even had him doing pictures there, and came back to a career as a commercial artist. He had a studio in Minneapolis for a good while and worked for other studios. Came to New York City in the late 70s, early 80s maybe, and was doing a lot of science fiction work by that time, interiors, all black and white, because he's colorblind. Not exactly colorblind, it's a color deficiency that shifts all the time. But he never worked in color until after he moved in with me. And he moved in early 84. We were handfasted in 85, but in the interim, he said, I want to do what I want to do, not what somebody pays me to do. And I said, okay, I'm making enough with my arts and crafts that I can support the two of us for a while. And he said, but I want to find out if people are buying the art for the name or for the art. So I'm going to change the name. He took his middle name, Robin, turned it backwards and put a Y in place of the I and came up with Nybor. And that has been his nom de crayon ever since. He is well known for his fantasy work, for his mystical work. In fact, his art is called Nybor Mystical Art. He's produced portraiture for people on many, many different countries, people overseas as well as in this country. I know one of his mentors said, he has the best gift for drawing a portrait of any of the rest of us. And they're pretty spectacular. You will see some of them, even if you don't make a bed, you will see some of his work at GreenSongFestival.com. Ask for the online auction. We put together 36 years now. He is a brilliant man. I cannot come up with any questions that he doesn't have an answer to. He is at one and the same time marvelous and rewarding. Now I want to bring to you a duo of musicians where spirit and music meet. The music of award-winning, spiritually inspiring singer-songwriter Ginger Doss ranges from funky tribal drumming to alternate rock, and from heartwarming ballads to earth-shaking spiritual anthems. Joining her will be her longtime musical cohort, Lynda Millard, whose amazing voice and dazzling flute and bass thrill music lovers of all ages. When Ginger and Lynda join their voices, their songs are inspired by the sacred search for divine revelation. The connection between their souls and the energy they raise is palpable. Together, they have a harmonic grace and command of their instruments that can only come from years of playing and singing together. Their music has brought them international acclaim. May I introduce you to my friends, Ginger Doss and Lynda Millard.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Elspeth. We're so happy to be here, GreenSong Festival. Thank you so much for including us. It's just such a pleasure and such a joy. Before, when this wasn't in the virtual format, we couldn't attend. And now, because it is, we can. And so we feel very blessed to be able to be with you. And thank you all for joining us. The first song we're going to do is a song off of my Hand and Hammer CD called Wave. And it's a song that just uses the water energy to talk about the waves between us and the waves of energy that circulate throughout our world, through our intention and through our actions. We can make this a better world through starting right here, and the ripples that come out from us can affect change for the better. So this is a song called Wave. Wave on the water, bending the sky. Wave to me, darling, don't say goodbye. Wave of emotion, changing my mind. Wave on the ocean, tear in my eye. Changing tide is low as high. I'm seeing signs, I'm reading minds. Ebb and flow, it's what you know. Make it so you just let go. Changing tide is low as high. Seeing signs, I'm reading minds. Ebb and flow, it's what you know. Make it so you just let go. Sending a sound wave into your soul. Resonant heat wave audio flow, rising a shockwave into the dawn. Oh, but the shorter wave, it won't be long. Shh. Changing tide is low, it's high. I'm seeing signs, I'm reading minds, ebb and flow. What you know, make it so you just let go. Changing tide is low, it's high. Changing tides, I'm reading minds, I'm seeing signs, I'm reading minds. Make it so you just let go. Oh, yes. Feel that good wave of energy flowing over us in this moment. Yes, yes. There's so much good we can do with our energy when we send those good waves out. This next song is especially important and special to me. It's inspired by the wolf energy, which I resonate with. I've got my little wolf here that I'm wearing, and the wolf is one of my power animals, and I have so often identified with that energy. And this song speaks to the alpha female of the pack. And I bet we have a lot of those listening right now. I definitely see Elspeth as one of those alpha females of our huge extended pack that goes all over the world. And we're so grateful to her and to everything she does. And so now we're going to celebrate that alpha wolf energy and sing this next song. It's called She Wolf. I will sing of the fearless in the tribal she wolf. Dare to hear her calling, the fear of falling hollow. Ain't no blessing, it's hard to mar. Ain't no blessing, it's hard to mar. on the fresh fallen snow. Here lays the hunger under what you do. Woe to the hunter who never learned to pray. With this kill, the shepherd will in the woven way. She is a hunter, a lover, a mother. She fights for her family and the way of life. She knows she she once stood, so proud and free, shut down by a mortal, soulless disease. And woe to the man cub who never learned to pray. Free at birth to roam the earth, now she counts her days. A hunter, a lover, a mother. She fights for her family and the way of life. She knows she Could you hear her howl? Could you hear the she-wolf howl? She tends to do that when we play this song. We can hear the she-wolf howling. And maybe she howled sometimes inside of you too. I feel like I've done all the talking. Do you want to do some of the talking here, Lindy?
Well, I guess I could. Hello, Grandmother Elspeth. And all with GreenSong. This next song is sort of like casting a virtual circle. It's called The Four Directions. And cast your circle with us.
Yes, this song is also from my Hand and Hammer CD. These first 3 songs have all been from my Hand and Hammer CD. I wrote this after a very intense, moving experience in my life when I was in nature. I had gotten a book, How to Make a Medicine Wheel. And I went out into nature and followed the directions, but soon I realized I didn't need those directions. Something happened to me when I was out there. An old memory took over. And I started in the east and made a little stone circle. Made my way to the south, to the west, and to the north, and closed the circle again with those little stones. When I sat in the center of that circle, I could see myself on top of the world. A giant circle floating in this eternal space with all the other circles turning through the cycles and the seasons of our lives. Everything connected, everything dependent, everything nurturing everything else. And I knew and I understood why we turn to the directions. And I came home and wrote this song called The Four Directions. From the center of the circle, I can see the world in all directions, streaming out from me with the eyes of my soul. See my four reflections. Yeah. As the infant in the east begins to open its eyes, the fire from within will ignite the sky. In this moment I am my own creation. Yeah. Growing around within yourself. Let your nectar fill my mouth. I will drink of all desire. Dance to midday sun, my soul. I can face the four directions, knowing all without within. I can learn from these connections, for the world and I are one. In the west we go to sleep, merry part and merry meet. Oh, you cannot give away what will be back. And even with the setting sun, a new day has begun on the other side. And with what you have done. You will now decide. Yeah. In the winter midnight north, let the mystery pop out. In the dark, the light is seen. Where I'm going, where I've been. I can face the four directions, knowing all without within. I can learn from these connections, for the world and I are one. I can face the four directions, knowing all without within. I can learn from these connections, for the world and I are one. Yeah. Oh, Spirit, let's just That's Lynda Millard rocking that bass over there.
That's Ginger Doss.
So this next song we're going to do is a song of mine called Mandala. And it's from my newest album, Sacred Flow, which is a concept album which takes sacred symbol and sacred song and turns it into music. The mandala is a very ancient spiritual work of art made by Buddhist monks thousands of years ago were the first ones. And at the end of making this very intricate, delicate work of art in total meditation, they would take it out to the river and wash it away to symbolize impermanence. So during the song, we peel back layers of the song towards the end to symbolize the letting go and the symbolizing of impermanence. There are 4 quadrants in the mandala that relate to the 4 directions and to the 4 wisdoms, which are sympathy, equanimity, loving kindness, and compassion. And we sing about that too in this next song. So I trust that you will enjoy this. This is called Mandala. Falling to the mandala, and find the path to within. gaze upon divinity and your destiny. If you be the journey to the eyes of your heart, Mandela, Mandela, sacred maid to contemplate and to radiate light and the wisdom revealed through the four essence of eternity and reality. Sand will fall through your fingers, yet the soul is reborn. Mandela, Mandela, from the center temple, form a circle in a circle. Step into the ring of fire. Transform your ignorance. Move with balance through the quadrants, though the winds of change will stir the sand. Samsara binds you here. Samsara binds you here. Mandela, 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 Mandela. Sympathy, equanimity, loving kindness and compassion. 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 Awesome. I love the way you play the bass on that song.
Well, thank you. I love the way you play keyboards on everything.
Well, now you
We're
get to
switching to
hear,
flute.
yes, Linda's amazing flute on this next song. This is a song about connection. And I have a lot of songs that are about connection in different ways. And this one is about our connection to nature. And if you look deep enough, you can see yourself in nature. Every part of the world is a part of everything else. You and I are a part of each other. We are especially connected to the earth when we open our hearts and allow that connection to nurture. And when we ourselves return that love and that nurturing to the earth, a balance is created. And it becomes a very co-creative process of nurturing and prospering. So I invite you with this next song to close your eyes and connect with the earth, because the earth is our mother and she gives us so much. And if you have a little bit more that you can give back to her. She always has a GreenSong that plays always. And if we open our mind, our hearts, we can hear that song always and be filled by it. This is called And in Me. In the sea and in me are the songs of the whales and the starfish's dreams. In the sea and in me, the first breath of life and the edge of what can be. In the sky so high, in the storm of emotion, it rains from eyes. In the sky so am I, dust from the Milky Way sparkles in as above, so below. Open up your heart to the divine flow. Let it be. It is so. Trust and surrender and let it all go. Caressed by the breezes dancing on my skin, and I heard about the bird, and I soared with the currents all across the verse. As above, so below. Open up your heart to the divine flow. Let it be. It is so. Trust and remember and let it all go.
We are one with the sun. We shine by believing in all that we have done. And we can, hand in hand, make this world stronger, connecting with the land.
Lynda Millard, I love that beautiful flute.
Thank you.
It's so amazing. So we have a very, very special birthday that we would like to celebrate. Elspeth, happy birthday. Happy 90th birthday. What a beautiful, beautiful 90 years you have given all of us. You are so very dear to me. Every time we get to be together means so much to me. I wish we could have done this in person, but this is better than nothing. And thank you for being the catalyst of so much goodness and for this GreenSong Festival. And now we want to sing happy birthday to you. If you'll indulge us for just a moment. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elspeth. Happy birthday to you.
We love you so much,
So
grandmother.
much, so much. You bless us in so many ways. And here's to 90 more. Woohoo! This next song is a perfect one for you to dedicate to you, grandmother, because you embody this energy too. This next song is called Gaia Lives, and it was my contribution to the Green album, which many artists in our circle, both Suj and some of the others that are performing here, have contributed to. And basically, it's songs for the earth, and it proceeds from the album are going to Rainforest Trust. And we've so far saved tens of thousands of rainforest acres. And it's just beautiful what a tribe can do when we come together like this. So this song, Gaia Lives, is for our Earth Mother, Gaia. And to remember that she is a living entity, a living being who without her, we could not take every step that we take. She provides a way for every step we take in our lives. And at the end, there's a little chant that I'd love for y'all to sing with us. It goes, give love to the earth. Everybody can. One a hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give love to the earth. Everybody can. One a hand on your heart, the other on the land. So sing that when it comes time. Put your hand on your heart, the other on the land. We'll get some energy going. We'll feed our mama Gaia. And this is Gaia Lives from the Green album.
It is your gift to walk the earth. With every step, we must remember this. She was born in a storm of sacred fire. With love's direction, divine perfection, stir the elements to form this paradise. feels us move across her skin. She feels with every step we take, we make an impact. Which one will it be? We must choose to give respect to the one we owe our life to, Mother. Or keep on taking without remaking, till there's nothing left. It's in our hands. If Gaia lives, Gaia lives. Gaia lives. Gaia lives. Gaia lives. We feel you, Mama. Gaia lives. Gaia lives. Love to the earth, everybody can. One hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give love to the earth, everybody can. One hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give love to the earth, everybody can. One hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give love to the earth, everybody can. One hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give love to the earth. Everybody can. Want a hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give a love to the earth. Everybody can. Want a hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give a love to the earth. Everybody can. Want a hand on your heart, the other on the land. Give a love to the earth. Everybody can. Want a hand on your heart, the other on the land. Gaia land.
Gaia lives. Thank you for joining us on that. If you've got some energy, just give it down to her right now. She needs us.
Grandmother, you know this song. I know you will remember this. And, well, many of you probably do remember this. And there is a part for you to sing on this one as well. There is no hell. We do not die. And this goes out to every one of you from a loved one on the other side as just a reminder. It's called We Do Not Die. Why did you tap me on the shoulder in my sleep last night, telling me I must write this song now, that the time is right? They're gonna think I've lost my mind. Some of them might be unkind when I say there is no hell.
We do not die, we are not gone. We are alive, we are just on the other side. We are not dead, we are alive, we do not die. We do not die. They're gonna wonder how I got this information here. What will they say when I tell them you whispered in my ear? How can I prove their greatest fears have been unfounded all these years? The truth is, there is no hell, we do not die, we are not gone, we are alive, we are just on the other side. We are not dead, we are alive, we do not die. We do not die. That's Ginger Doss. So many people have seen the light, of what they thought was the end in sight. I'm not the only one who shares this bold philosophy. I can only say that what I saw is plain to see. But I was once a skeptic too, until the day I heard from you. And you said, there is no hell, we do not die, we are not gone, we are alive, we are just on the other side. We are not dead, we are alive, we do not die, we are not gone, we are alive, we are just on the other side. We are not dead, we are alive, we do not die, we do not die, we are not gone, we are alive, we are just on the other side. We are not dead, we are alive, we do not die, we do not die. We do not die.
This next song is called Thankful, and we'd like to send it out to Elspeth and to everybody involved in the GreenSong Festival, and for all the people participating in this wonderful festival. Thank you so much for all that you've done. This song goes to you. This is called Thankful, and it's from my From Love to Love album. To begin, take a step, move ahead and do your best. There is power in intent. Use your dreams to reinvent yourself. A child of light.
Ending darkness shining bright. All the fires you can ignite will lead you through the night. There is nothing you can't do. Take your mind and put it to. See it here and be clear. In your heart be sincere and be thankful for the infinite power of the universe. Thankful that the power within is love. Thankful to be an integral part of creation. Thankful, oh yeah. Oh, to exist is a gift, and isn't life magnificent? We can shake and we can bake, we can give and we can take. Good love and do so much. We've got our hands and we can touch, reaching out and building trust. And our friends, they mean so much. We can walk and we can talk, we can teach and can be taught. Find our way or just play and be grateful every day. Thank God for the beautiful lives we've been given. Thank God for our friends and community. Thank God for the time that we spent together. Thank God. The power of love is real. When you use it, you can heal. Be abundant and give it out. So abundant and give it out. There's more than enough for everyone. Yeah. Trust in the flow and you dig your song. Be abundant and give it out. So abundant and give it out. Feel the love that's all around. Coming up and going down. Find a way to make love stay and be grateful every day. Thank God for the beautiful lives we've been given. Thank God for my friends and community. Thank God for the time that we get together. Thank God, oh yeah. I'm so thankful.
Yeah. Thankful for you. Thankful for everybody.
So thankful.
It's a beautiful blessing when you can go through life thankful. It just kind of shifts things. Whenever you feel down, try to spend some time listing the things in your mind to be thankful for. And it really does change your energy, changes your perspective, changes your mood. It's the power of thankfulness is just eternal. This next song is called Come Down. And if you have a drum, I invite you to go get it so you can drum along with us. This is a song that we have taken from drum circle to drum circle around the country, inspired by all the drum circles and communities where we have been at festival. And it reaches out to the higher power, whatever you see that to be, to draw that down and bring it in and dance with it in this moment right here. And so this is called Come Down. It's from my Hand and Hammer CD. And enjoy.
skies. I am here, and more than I am. Have I been all that I can be? Am I you? I want you to show me. I want to be more than I ever dreamed. I stretch my arms across the sky.
I stretch my arms.
Can you hear me call your name?
Call your name.
I think it's time we walk together.
Think it's time we walk.
Come to me, I'm not afraid. No, come down, come down, come down off of the mountain. When you hear the words are spoken in your name, come down, and dance upon the earth. And for the moment, let the veil between us fade. Come down. I am here, so born of the earth, and a wind from heaven did complete me. Bring to me a handful of stardust, yeah, that I can cast into my darkest
Night.
and with your touch my heart unfolds.
My heart unfolds.
Blooms within a rose of love,
Yeah, yeah.
and down my spine the golden vine will stretch my roots into the earth. Oh, come down, come down, come down off of the mountain. When you hear the words are spoken in your name, come down, and dance upon the earth. And for the moment, let the veil between us fade. Come down, come down off of the mountain. When you hear the words are spoken in your name, yeah, come down, and dance upon the earth. And for the moment, let the veil between us fade. Come down, yeah. Come down. I stretch my arms across the sky.
I stretch my arms.
Can you hear me call your name?
Call your name.
I think it's time we walk together.
I think it's time we walk.
Come to me, I'm not afraid. No, come down, come down, come down off of the mountain. When you hear the words are spoken in your name, yeah, come down, and dance upon the earth. And for the moment, let the veil between us fade. Come down, come down off of the mountain. When you hear the words are spoken in your name, yeah, come down, and dance upon the earth. And for the moment, let the veil between us fade. Come down, yeah. Come down. Hey.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you so much, GreenSong Festival. We enjoyed this so much. I hope you did too. Happy birthday, Elspeth, and enjoy the rest of your festival. I'm Ginger Doss,
I'm Lynda Millard.
and we thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. It was wonderful, as always. We'll close out this session, and I thank you for attending. I hope you're with us every time. Remember the auction at greensongfestival.com. If you're tired of listening to that, go make a bid, then you don't have to listen anymore. I will see you next week.
As I went walking the ribbon of highway, saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. Sing it out now. This land was made for you and me. Your